Ethan Walker hadn't planned to stop at the grocery store that evening. After a 12-hour shift repairing HVAC systems across the city, all he wanted was to get home, heat up leftovers, and sit quietly beside his sleeping daughter. But when Lily's small voice had cracked over the phone earlier, "Daddy, we're out of milk," he'd turned the truck around without thinking. It was already late when he pushed open the glass doors of the neighborhood supermarket. The store was quieter than usual, the kind of quiet that settled in after 9 p.m., when tired workers and exhausted parents crossed paths under fluorescent lights. Ethan grabbed a basket instead of a cart. Milk. Bread. Apples. Maybe cereal if Lily had finished the last box again. He moved slowly through the aisles, his body heavy with fatigue, his mind even heavier with responsibility. Being a single father wasn't something he talked about much. People usually reacted with either pity or praise, neither of which he wanted. He didn't feel heroic. He felt tired. Constantly tired. His wife, Marissa, had passed away 3 years earlier after a sudden illness. 1 month she was laughing, planning Lily's 5th birthday. The next, Ethan was holding her hand in a hospital room, trying not to fall apart while doctors spoke in careful tones. Since then, it had just been him and Lily. No grandparents nearby. No siblings. No safety net. Just love, routine, and endurance. When Ethan reached the checkout area, only one lane was open. Behind the counter stood a young woman, maybe in her early 20s. Her brown hair was pulled back in a loose ponytail, strands escaping around her face. Her name tag read Maya. She looked tense. Ethan didn't notice it at first. He placed his items on the conveyor belt and waited. Maya picked up the milk carton, scanned it, and placed it gently in a bag. Then he saw it. Her hands were shaking. Not dramatically. Not enough for most people to notice. Just a slight tremor. Like someone trying very hard to keep control. Ethan had learned to notice small things. You learn that when you're a parent. When you've spent years reading the difference between hunger cries and tired cries, between a smile that's real and one that's forced. Maya's hands weren't cold. This wasn't caffeine. This was fear. She scanned the bread. Beep. Her fingers twitched again. Ethan hesitated. He wasn't the type to pry. But something about the way she swallowed hard, the way her shoulders were stiff like she was bracing for impact, made him pause. Long day? He asked gently. Maya flinched slightly, as if she hadn't expected him to speak. Oh, yeah. Yeah, she replied quickly, forcing a smile. She reached for the apples. One slipped from her grasp and rolled toward the end of the counter. I'm sorry, she said immediately, crouching to retrieve it. No worries, Ethan said, picking it up and placing it back gently. Their eyes met for a brief second. In that moment, Ethan saw something that stopped him cold. Panic. Not stress. Not annoyance. Panic. He paid for his groceries, took the receipt, and should have left. Any reasonable person would have. He didn't know her. It wasn't his place. But as he took the bags, he noticed her hands shaking again, worse this time. Without fully deciding to, Ethan spoke. Hey, he said quietly, keeping his voice calm, non-threatening. I don't mean to be rude, but your hands are shaking. Are you okay? Maya froze. Her eyes dropped to her hands, as if she hadn't realized they were betraying her. For a moment, she said nothing. The store felt suddenly very quiet. Then she laughed softly, but it wasn't a real laugh. It was the kind people use when they're trying to survive an uncomfortable moment. I'm fine, she said. Just tired. Ethan didn't push. He nodded, turned slightly as if to leave. But then she spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. They always shake when I'm scared. Ethan stopped. Slowly, he turned back. Scared of what? He asked. Maya hesitated. Her fingers curled into fists, trying to steady themselves. Then she looked at him. And said the words that would change both their lives. I'm scared of going home. Ethan felt his chest tighten. For a moment, he couldn't speak. He didn't ask another question right away. He didn't rush her. He simply stood there, holding grocery bags, listening. Finally, he said softly, "Do you want to talk about it?" Maya shook her head at first. Then she nodded. Then she shook it again. "I'm not supposed to," she said. "And you're just a customer." "I'm also a dad," Ethan replied. "And I've learned that when someone says they're scared to go home, that usually means they shouldn't be alone." Her eyes filled with tears instantly, like the words had cracked something open. She turned slightly, checking if anyone else was close enough to hear. The store was nearly empty now. Only the hum of refrigerators and distant footsteps. "My stepfather," she said quietly. "He's been drinking again." Ethan's jaw tightened. "He gets angry when I'm late," she continued. "He checks the clock. He checks my phone. If I don't answer right away." Her voice broke. "I try to keep my hands steady so customers don't notice. But tonight I couldn't." Ethan felt a wave of helpless anger wash over him, the same anger he used to feel when Marissa was sick and he couldn't fix it. The same anger he felt every time Lily asked for her mother. "You don't deserve that," he said firmly. Maya smiled sadly. "That's what my mom used to say." "Used to." The words hung in the air. "She passed away last year," Maya added. "After that, everything changed." Ethan swallowed hard. "I'm really sorry," he said. "So am I," she replied. "For telling you all this." "You don't need to be," Ethan said. "Thank you for trusting me." A silence settled between them, not awkward, but heavy. Maya wiped her eyes quickly and straightened her posture, like she was putting armor back on. "I should finish my shift," she said. "Thank you for being kind." Ethan hesitated. "Listen," he said carefully. "I don't know your situation fully, and I don't want to overstep. But if you ever feel unsafe, there are ways to get help." She nodded, though her expression said she'd heard those words before. As Ethan walked toward the exit, his mind raced. He thought of Lily. Of how small hands could shake when they were afraid. Of how silence could be dangerous. He reached the door. Then he turned back. "Maya," he said. She looked up. "If you don't feel safe tonight," he said, "please don't go home alone." Her eyes widened slightly. "I'll be here tomorrow morning," he added. "Same store. Same time. If you want to talk more." He didn't offer his number. He didn't push. He simply gave her something she hadn't had in a long time. A choice. As he stepped out into the cool night air, Ethan didn't know why he felt so certain that this wasn't the end of their story. He just knew it was the beginning. Maya's shift ended at exactly 10:30 p.m., but she didn't clock out right away. She stood behind the counter, pretending to straighten receipts, pretending to wipe a surface that was already clean. Her heart was still racing, not because of her stepfather, not yet, but because of the conversation she couldn't stop replaying in her head. "I'm scared of going home." She'd never said those words out loud to a stranger before. Customers came and went every day, faces blurring together. Some were rude. Some were kind. Most didn't see her at all. Ethan had seen her. Not the uniform. Not the cashier. The fear. That scared her more than anything. When she finally clocked out, Maya stepped outside into the parking lot. The night air was cold, biting against her cheeks. She hugged her jacket closer around herself and glanced at her phone. 3 missed calls. All from Rick. Her stepfather. Her hands began to shake again. She slipped her phone into her pocket without returning the calls and walked quickly toward the bus stop. The bus ride home felt longer than usual. Every stop, every pause, tightened the knot in her chest. She stared out the window, watching streetlights blur past, wishing, just for tonight, that time would slow down. Or stop. The house loomed dark when she arrived. Only one light was on, the living room. That was never a good sign. Maya hesitated at the door, her key trembling in her fingers. She counted her breaths the way her mother had taught her years ago. In. Hold. Out. The door creaked open. Rick sat on the couch, a half-empty bottle resting on the table beside him. The television flickered silently, casting sharp shadows across his face. "You're late," he said without looking at her. "The bus," Maya began. "I don't care about the bus," he snapped, finally turning toward her. His eyes were glassy, unfocused. "I called you." "I was working," she said quietly, slipping her shoes off near the door. He stood up slowly. Maya's body went rigid. "You think that give you the right to ignore me?" Rick demanded. "No," she replied. "I just..." The slap came fast. Not hard enough to knock her down. Not soft enough to ignore. Maya staggered back, her cheek burning, her ears ringing. She didn't cry. Crying only made things worse. "I do everything for you," Rick shouted. "I put a roof over your head." She nodded silently, eyes fixed on the floor. "That was how you survived." Later that night, Maya lay awake in her room, staring at the cracked ceiling. Her face throbbed where he'd hit her. Her hands were still trembling, tucked beneath her pillow like they could be hidden even from themselves. She thought about Ethan. About the way he'd asked if she was okay, like the answer actually mattered. It scared her. And somehow, it gave her hope. Ethan didn't sleep well that night either. He lay on the couch so Lily could have the bed. She'd had a bad dream and insisted on sleeping in her room. The soft glow of the nightlight spilled into the hallway as Ethan stared at the ceiling, his mind replaying Maya's words. "I'm scared of going home." He'd heard those words before. Years ago, from his own sister, before she'd finally left her abusive husband. Ethan had been younger then, unsure how to help, terrified of doing the wrong thing. He'd promised himself he'd never ignore fear again. When morning came, Ethan made pancakes for Lily, cutting them into uneven shapes that made her laugh. "Daddy," she said between bites, "why do you look sad?" He smiled gently. "Just thinking." "About Mommy?" she asked softly. His chest tightened. "Sometimes," he admitted. Lily nodded like she understood more than she should at her age. "Mommy used to say helping people makes the world lighter," she said. Ethan froze. "Did she?" he asked. "Yes," Lily said. "Maybe you should help someone today." He kissed the top of her head, his heart aching. "I think I might," he whispered. Ethan arrived at the grocery store earlier than planned. He bought a coffee and waited near the entrance, unsure if Maya would even show up. Maybe she wouldn't come. Maybe she'd think he was strange. Maybe she'd decided silence was safer. Then he saw her. She walked in slowly, her shoulders hunched, her eyes tired. A faint bruise bloomed beneath her makeup, just visible in the harsh morning light. Ethan's hands curled into fists. Maya spotted him and froze. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then she walked over. "You came," she said softly. "I said I would," Ethan replied. She swallowed. "I didn't know if I should." "You don't have to talk if you don't want to," he said. "I just wanted you to know you're not invisible." Her eyes filled with tears again. "I don't know how to leave," she admitted. I don't have money. I don't have family. Ethan nodded slowly. You don't have to figure everything out today. She looked at him, searching his face for something, judgment, maybe. Or pity. She found neither. Would you like help making a plan? He asked. Maya exhaled, a shaky breath she'd been holding for years. Yes, she whispered. They sat at a small table near the store's cafe. Ethan listened as Maya spoke, about her mother, about Rick, about the fear that lived in her bones. When she finished, Ethan said something she hadn't expected. You're braver than you think. She laughed bitterly. I don't feel brave. Bravery isn't about feeling, he replied. It's about choosing to keep going. Maya looked down at her hands. They're shaking again, she said. Ethan smiled softly. That just means you're alive. For the first time in a long time, Maya smiled back. The plan wasn't supposed to happen that night. Ethan had told himself that clearly, repeated it like a rule. Help didn't mean rushing. Help didn't mean charging in like a hero from a movie. Help meant patience, safety, and choice. But life rarely follows plans. Maya spent the day at work moving like a ghost. She smiled at customers. She scanned items. She said have a nice day on autopilot. Inside, her thoughts were racing. Rick had sent her one message during her lunch break. Don't be late tonight. That was it. No anger. No threats. That scared her more than anything. By the time her shift ended, her hands were shaking so badly she had to press them against the counter to steady herself. She remembered Ethan's words. You don't have to figure everything out today. But tonight felt different. Tonight felt dangerous. She walked outside and dialed a number she had saved but never used. Ethan answered on the second ring. Maya, he said immediately. Her voice broke. I don't think I can go home tonight. There was a pause. Not hesitation. Calculation. Where are you right now? He asked calmly. Outside the store. Stay there, Ethan said. I'm coming. Ethan drove faster than he should have, gripping the steering wheel as Lily slept in the back seat, her stuffed rabbit tucked under her chin. He hated involving his daughter in anything complicated, but he also knew what it meant to show her what kindness looked like. When he pulled into the parking lot, Maya was sitting on the curb, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. She looked so small it made something twist painfully in his chest. She stood up when she saw him. I'm sorry, she said immediately. I didn't know who else to call. You called the right person, Ethan replied. As she climbed into the car, her hands shook uncontrollably. Hey, Ethan said gently. You're safe right now. Those words undid her. She covered her face and sobbed, not quietly, not carefully, but like someone who had been holding it in for far too long. Lily stirred and opened her eyes. Daddy, she murmured. Ethan glanced back. It's okay, sweetheart. Lily looked at Maya with sleepy concern. Are you hurt? Lily asked softly. Maya nodded, tears streaming. A little. Lily reached out her small hand. You can sit with us, she said. Daddy makes the best hot chocolate. Maya laughed through her tears. That laugh changed something. Rick didn't stay quiet. Maya's phone buzzed again and again as they drove. Where are you? Answer me. You think you can run? Ethan didn't read the messages aloud. He didn't need to. You don't have to go back tonight, he said. Or ever. She looked at him sharply. He'll come looking. Then we'll be ready, Ethan replied. They arrived at Ethan's small home just after midnight. He set Lily to bed and gave Maya one of Marissa's old sweaters, soft, oversized, safe. For the first time in years, Maya slept without listening for footsteps. But safety, like fear, rarely lasts quietly. The knock came at 3:12 a.m. Hard. Furious. Ethan was already awake. He stepped onto the porch before Maya could even reach the hallway. Rick stood there, drunk and wild-eyed. "You think you can steal her from me?" he snarled. "She's not property," Ethan said firmly. Rick laughed. "You don't know what you're getting into." Ethan didn't raise his voice. "I know exactly what I'm getting into," he said. "And it ends tonight." The police arrived minutes later, called by Ethan before opening the door fully. Rick was removed, shouting threats into the night. Maya watched from the hallway, shaking. But this time, her hands weren't shaking from fear. They were shaking from relief. The next morning, Maya sat at Ethan's kitchen table, staring at a cup of hot chocolate just like Lily had promised. "I thought no one would ever stand up for me," she said quietly. Ethan sat across from her. "Sometimes people just need to be seen." She nodded. "I want to leave for good." "You can," he said. "And we'll help you do it the right way." For the first time, Maya believed it. She looked at her hands. They were still. The quiet that followed the storm felt unreal. For Maya, peace didn't arrive like relief. It arrived like confusion. She woke up in Ethan's guest room just after sunrise, disoriented for a moment. The light spilling through the curtains was soft, gentle, nothing like the harsh glare she was used to waking up to. There was no shouting. No footsteps pacing outside her door. No voice reminding her she owed her existence to someone else's anger. Her hands rested on her chest. Still. That was when she realized she was crying. Not from fear. From disbelief. Over the next few days, everything moved quickly, but carefully. Ethan didn't push. He didn't take control. He simply stood beside her as Maya spoke to a social worker, filed a report, and collected what little she owned from the house she no longer called home. Rick didn't fight back the way she'd feared. Something about the police, the official paperwork, the finality of it all seemed to shrink him. For the first time, Maya saw him not as a monster, but as a weak man who thrived on silence. And she had broken it. One afternoon, as Maya signed the last form at a small legal aid office, her hands began to tremble again. She froze. Ethan noticed immediately. "Hey," he said softly. "Look at me." She did. "You're safe," he reminded her. "This shaking, it's your body letting go." Maya took a deep breath. The shaking stopped. She smiled through tears. "I think I'm finally free." Lily adored Maya in the quiet, uncomplicated way only children can. She brought her drawings. Asked her to help braid her hair. Sat beside her during cartoons, occasionally leaning her small head against Maya's arm like it was the most natural thing in the world. One evening, as they sat on the floor coloring, Lily looked up and said, "Your hands don't shake anymore." Maya's breath caught. "No," she whispered. "They don't." "That means you're happy now," Lily said matter-of-factly. Maya laughed softly. "I think you're right." Later that night, Maya stood alone in the bathroom, staring at her reflection. She lifted her hands slowly, watching them closely. Steady. For the first time in years, she saw not a victim, but a survivor. Ethan never told Maya that helping her had healed something in him too. After Marissa's death, he'd learned how to survive, but not how to hope. Protecting Maya, standing firm when fear showed up at his doorstep, reminded him of the man he used to be before grief taught him caution. One night, after Lily had fallen asleep, Maya joined Ethan on the porch. The air was cool, peaceful. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. Ethan shook his head. "You don't have to." "But you changed my life," she insisted. He smiled gently. "So did you." She looked at him, surprised. You reminded me, he continued, that stepping in matters. That noticing matters. Maya swallowed. I was so afraid my fear made me weak. Ethan met her eyes. Fear just means you cared enough to survive. Months later, Maya stood behind a different counter. Not as a cashier, but as a trainee at a small community cafe, one that partnered with shelters and job programs. The work was slower, kinder. The people looked her in the eyes. On her first day, she spilled coffee on the counter. Her hands didn't shake. That night, she walked home alone, but not afraid. Because home was no longer a place. It was a feeling. One quiet afternoon, Ethan stopped by the cafe with Lily. Maya brought them their drinks, smiling. Ethan looked at her hands as she placed the cup down. Steady. He smiled. You know, he said lightly, the first thing I noticed about you was your hands. Maya laughed. I remember. I asked why they were shaking, he continued. She nodded. And I answered honestly for the first time in my life. Lily looked between them, confused. Why were her hands shaking? Maya crouched to Lily's level. Because I was scared, she said. But I'm not anymore. Lily grinned. Good. As Ethan and Lily left the cafe, Maya stood watching them through the window, heart full, hands calm, future open. She had survived. And more importantly, she had begun to live.